Hey traders, Nick Shaheen here doing a quick recap. A lot has happened. Week ending 3/16. This is a short version. The long version is for members only. Includes a whole bunch of trades, trade setups and ideas and ranges, etc. So Friday was a scratch day. We had a decent day in the small caps and the Dow. We had the flat-ish in the S&P, and Nasdaq was down a little bit. There's a whole bunch of shenanigans going on in Apple all week. I did not like how it went. So we're looking at the S&P minis, so think SVX-ish. We had a bad couple of days. But on Friday, I would give the win to the bulls. That's 2 days in a row because the bears had good setups, especially on Friday. We were supposed to have even more devastating headlines, and fear is rampant, yet they couldn't muster even a down day. The week was down for sure, but not the end of the world, and I'll show you why in a second. So where we stand now? Okay, so the only thing that's at play right now versus, say, January 30th is sentiment, and that's completely driven by fear. And I'll show you that in a little bit. So the only thing I'm watching is fear. And if I was a technician, I would look at the fact that we have a tightening of the price ranges. We get price range from here. So that is Friday the 2nd, I believe, when we had a strong jobs report. And then everybody freaked out. Oh my gosh, the Fed is going to do blah, blah, blah. Monday was terrible, gigantic candle. We recovered pretty quickly. Then we said, what? We're going to retest the lows, and everybody was calling for the lows, and we called the low on 2.9, and we said that the low was 2.9 a long time ago. So we came up to here, and this right here was a massive breakout. We're ready to happen, but then we had new headlines. We get new headlines every day. It's just unrelenting. We just keep making it up. We should just stop the media. If we muted the media and politicians, the stock market would rally. Anyway, the fundamentals story is still the same. Meanwhile, we're hostage to headlines. So I forgot what I was going with that. Regardless, price action. So massive candle, we completely repriced it, and look where we're at. We're fighting over this massive candle. So if this bump right here was as legit as it looks, this is a solid bump. That means keep headlines out, and they should use it as a floor board-ish, and set another higher low, which would make a nice trend of higher lows, hitting this neckline. And as soon as this neckline breaks, this will be the next level to hit. If I'm wrong and headlines come out and they want to drift a little lower, that wouldn't alarm me. That's the big picture. Okay, so why am I saying let's not worry about it? I'm going to tell you about the cues. Okay, so the cues, if I go to a weekly candle, this week set an all-time high. And we are right here. So not a disaster. And that's why I say that the bulls, the bears kind of lost by not winning more. High. Everybody saying double top, saying nope, not a double top, already broke that. Again, on conviction with oomph and follow through, thanks to Fang. So likely, without headlines, this should hold-ish. There's a little gap here, but let's call it what it is. So maybe higher, but if lower, not a disaster. Higher lows, we keep trying again. All right, the small caps, similar picture. All-time high, not the end of the world, leaves room for up and down. I have a lot of detailed information in the open interest, so reach out to me if you want details on those, or become a member and you get all of those. Okay, so having said that, what do I look for next week? The only thing that next week is going to matter is the Fed, because if this was a scary day, it was because of the Fed. Okay, so let's go back to SPY this time, show you a different slice. So will they, won't they? We don't really care much, because I think consensus is that they will. Quarter point. So anything other than a quarter point hike, I think, will surprise the market. Whether it's 50, forget about it, run for the hills. Or not, then we'll start asking, why not? Okay, so a quarter point is kind of what the expectations is, and Wall Street does not like anything other than expectations. But I think more importantly, we want to hear what this new fella has to say, how he sounds, what the Q&A, if there's one, and body language. So I watch fear again to linger through that event, in my opinion, and I don't think anybody's going to make major moves before that unless we get headlines. There are a few things to look at. Our bonds, there's a big trade on bonds going on there. There's a big trade on the dollar. Oil also has a trade going on. Those two are tied, kind of. Gold has a trade going on. So we have a whole bunch of trades that we set up. Facebook and Apple and the Dow. These are like things I'm playing right now. And again, everything is based on fear. So we're watching fear. I'm going to use the VXX to represent it. That's not what I watch. It's manipulated. I don't have a doubt in my mind. I watch the VIX futures. It's a cleaner look on it. Not the VIX. Forget that. The VXX is even better than the VIX to watch for now. All right, so a lot of lines, right? But they all mean something at some point in time. But all I have to worry about is the fact that lower highs and bumping on a neckline. So they're fighting over this candle right here, that was Friday when everybody started to freak out. That was the Monday when the freak out ballooned. Okay, so here they are. Technically, this must hold or lower prices will happen. How lower? That's a similar pattern here, only a little bit smaller magnitude. Okay, so you say, well, I don't know about that. I'll say, all right, let's expand to 1 year. Okay, how about, that's the scary thing, right? VIX, VXX. Can't even see it. This is weekly 5 years. So by definition, in my opinion, fear will lose the fundamentals eventually. Just shut the stream of bad headlines. Politicians are killing us here. All right, so that's fear. I'm watching fear. Any questions, let me know. Nick signing out. Oops, sorry about that. Before I sign out, I mentioned shenanigans in Apple. I just didn't like the way it traded. It has a lot of opportunity, but the way the price action happened was a little unusual. I mean, I watch it all the time, and it wasn't typical. And I also want to mention, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at sellspreads@gmail.com. Cheap way of advertising. sellspreads@gmail.com. And definitely subscribe to the channel. That would help me out greatly and would encourage me to do more of these videos. Nick signing out. Hopefully you have a good weekend.